Hey, True Believers, Teen here with a review of Swamp Thing Winter Special #1. This is an 80-page giant, as they say on the cover, and I appreciate that. It kind of is a callback to the 1970s when Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson created the Swamp Thing. Now, granted, of course, that issue wasn't a 100-page or an 80-page special, but still, like I said, it's a callback to the time period, and that's cool enough. So this is a little bit of an anthology. It's not really an anthology, there's a whole bunch of stories. There's actually only two. One is a 40-page story by Tom King and Jason Fabok, and it's called The Talk of the Saints, and it's just amazing. Let's get one thing straight. This entire book is really nothing more than just a love letter written to two fallen heroes of the comic book medium, Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson. They are the creators of Swamp Thing, and this is an homage like no other. Now, Tom King for me is a hit and miss writer. I know I'm praising him a lot, and that's because I love to share the work that he does that's really positive. Because when he's missed, he's just like, it's okay. But when he hits, man, he just is firing on all cylinders. And in this book, the man is firing on all cylinders. It's a very simple story. There's a snow monster chasing the Swamp Thing, and the Swamp Thing is trying to save a little boy. And along the way, he does meet some obstacles. It's very simple. It really is. Yet there's a depth to it. There's twists to it. There's all sorts of things that are beneath the surface that just elevates this story to a new level. And the fact that the cold makes the Swamp Thing weaker as he goes just heightens the tension. Now, I wondered, I did see some evergreen trees around him in a few scenes. And I thought, why can't he tap into those? Or at least to their roots to help him out? But I don't know if we're supposed to ask those kind of questions. While this is a straightforward story, Swamp Thing has to get this little boy to safety while a snow monster is slowly killing the Swamp Thing. It does, like I said before, go a little bit deeper. This is a story about despair. It's a story about loss, yet it's also a story about keep going forward even though the odds are against you. This is all about continuing, even though things around you are dying. And to me, maybe I'm reading too much into it. It seems this is what Tom King is saying about the character of Swamp Thing, even though this year he lost his daddies. Both Bernie Wrightson and Len Wein passed away in 2017. Excuse me, last year, I guess I should say, instead of this year. But still, this is what I got out of the story. This is what I felt the story was all about. That even though those that carried you and those that kept you going are dying and died, it's still okay to carry on. Could have been reading a little bit much into it, but you know what? That's the whole thing about literature, comic books even. It gives you what you get out of it. Now, sometimes, you might be off, but I don't think I'm too far off on this. And even if I am, I'm going to carry this one with me. I'm going to take it like that. I'm going to see that there's that much more to the story than originally thought. Now, there is a twist at the end. You could see it coming. You might not see it coming. There are clues that lead you to the conclusion, but they are very subtle. Nothing here is ham-fisted. Nothing hits you over the head, and that's one of the beauties of the story. It carries you along, but it also requires you to do a little legwork for yourself from time to time. And in the end, this is one of the best books so far of 2018. And I don't know, anything that comes after it, they have got a hard row to hoe if they want to keep up. I can honestly say this is just one great story that Tom King has written here for Swamp Thing. And I think because of this, man, he should be returning. Let's get him back to Rebirth. Here for the review, but the next part of the book starts off with a letter that explains what's going on here. See, this is a story that was going to really kind of kick off Swamp Thing coming back. It's a continuation of his previous miniseries, and of course it would be the start of a new launch. And it was plotted by Len Wein, then sent to Kelly Jones, who drew it. And in all honesty, credit where credit is due, Kelly Jones is subdued here. Usually has more manic, more wild style to it. And granted, you do have the trademark darker shades and more gothic look, to the Swamp Thing. And it looks great, as you can see here. But once again, it's more subdued for Kelly Jones, and I appreciated that. But unfortunately, before Len Wein could put in the dialogue and the descriptive balloons and so forth, so on, he had passed away. So DC Comics felt that it was important to reprint it here, or print it here, I should say, without the words, without the descriptive, without the dialogue, and just as it was, just the work between Kelly Jones and the late Len Wein. Give it up. You know the man's a professional. He's been doing this for 30 freaking years or something like that. Kelly, he's just been doing it forever. And one thing I always harp on is sequential art in comic books. You have to be able to look at the art only and tell the story. See, the art sells. The words really just are like icing on the cake. Now, granted, that seems like an oversimplification, and it is. So don't put words or comments in the thing. You don't think a writer's important? No. I don't deal with weak egos. If that's what you believe, go on ahead. Just pass me by here. Don't comment. What I am saying, though, is art is the most important in comic books, which is a visual medium. And a great artist can tell a story without the words, without the dialogue. And here he does this. He does it very well indeed. Basically, and once again, we have a very simple plot, very simple story, where Solomon Grundy has kidnapped a child, Swamp Thing chases after him, and Batman comes along for the ride at a certain point. And in the end, this is as well a love letter, a homage, an homage, if you will, to Len Wein and to Bernie Wrightson. Especially kind of Bernie Wrightson with the art. I know it's Len Wein's last plots, but, Bernie Wrightson always had that gothic style as well, so it fits. And it's done well. And it's in a swamp and not a snowstorm, which, mind you, I am not taking anything away from that awesome first story. What I'm telling you is there's two awesome stories in this one. One may not have words in it, but it's still every bit as much poignant, entertaining, and enjoyable. I mean, this is just overall a great special that I can recommend highly, and I'm happy to say that. I want a Tom King written Swamp Thing series now. Kelly Jones art. And the last part of the book is the script to the story that we just read from Len Wein and Kelly Jones, and it's pretty interesting. And you can, if you did not follow the story without the words, you can kind of get what's going on right here as you get the words without the story, basically. And it shows you a little bit about how Len Wein wrote and basically how to write a comic book. Just follow the script right here and follow make it your blueprint, and boom, you can write a comic book script. It's right here for you in green and black. Check it out. It'll work, and it's an interesting read as well. I liked it. Now, I gotta say I like the story with the art instead of the words more, just because, once again, comic book, I like sequential art. What can I say? It is my kryptonite, I guess. And the last few pages are deceptively simple, as they are the they're the sign-off pages. In any book that Bernie Wrightson or Len Wein did, this is what you would see at the end. So it's very fitting that they put this at the end of this book. And once again, as I said before, if I were to describe this book as short and simple in a TV guide blurb, as it were, it's a love letter to two fallen heroes of the comic book medium. It's an homage to Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson. just to say, hey, you know, thank you for the Swamp Thing. Thank you for the great memories we had with this story when they were running it and after. And when it comes down to it, all of the great Swamp Thing stories you have ever read could not have happened without the imagination of Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson. That's my opinion. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think it's a great story and a cool homage to Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson, two of the greatest comic book artists and writers that the medium has ever seen? Or do you disagree? Are you wrong? Let me know in the comments below where you stand. Also, if you like this video, you want to see more, click like, click share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. You know, cool things happen around these parts. Now, if you are subscribed, make sure that bell is rung so you don't miss anything. Also, this is the way we make a living, so if you don't mind helping out and help support us a little bit, go on over to Patreon, links in the description below. Drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on and helps keep making videos for you. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.